How's it going? Tyler here with Maine Angling, and going to be doing a fly box build this week, and in part it is episode 1 of what I'm calling the All Waters Odyssey, which for me is a challenge to get out and explore more. I do tend to fish a lot of the same lakes and rivers that I know are productive for either big cutthroat trout, good populations of salmon or steelhead, and in a lot of ways I'm not exploring as much as I used to when I first got into fishing. So what I want to start doing again is hitting all these small lakes. I actually made a list of over 40 that are kind of in my general area that I either haven't fished or haven't fished in 5 to 10 years. And ones that I want to is check them out, see how the fishing is, see what the scenery is like, and just get outside more, focus less on the fish and more on the fishing. For that, I wanted to have a nice fly box to go along with it. Take this video with a grain of salt because not all of it was done perfectly by any means. I rushed a few things, and a few things I just would do differently in the next builds, which we'll have one of those videos down the line. But hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you soon. So I'm starting out with some maple scraps I had around. I was going to eventually use these for a handle on some smaller nets, but decided it would be put to good use here for a fly box build. Just roughly drawing in some straight lines so I can trim it up first on the bandsaw before jointing it and planing it down. Eventually what you'll see on the planer is I'm just using a flattening jig, just because it was a little bit too wide for my jointer. Once I had an edge and a face squared up, I took it to the table saw, squared up the other edge, and got it ready to go over to the bandsaw to resaw it, which I don't really have a proper resaw bandsaw, but we were able to make it work. After that was cut down, I put it through my drum sander a whole bunch of times to get them squared off, smooth, and to a equal thickness. After that, I started to work on the sides of the box, which I made out of some maple offcuts I had around. I cut them to 3/4 of an inch tall, and then off camera cut them down on the chop saw to the right dimensions. Here we're just gluing them up with some Tight Bond 3 because this will be likely to get a bit wet, and clamping it down with probably way too many clamps. But better safe than sorry. Once the glue was dried and the clamps were off, I used a bit of double-sided tape here to just temporarily put the lid on and square up all the edges of the top, the sides, and the back, which did come a little off kilter when I was gluing them up there. Now, in hindsight, I would have used a different type of hinge here, but I had these on hand and I wanted to have this box ready for fishing on the weekend, so here we are. I marked them out with a X-Acto knife and came back with chisels to just hollow out the area needed, and then screwed them in place once they were all ready to go. I did a sanding up to about 120 grit on this, which I won't make you watch that whole process. And then after that, I did a water popping on it just to raise the grain. And you'll get to see a little sneak peek of how this grain is going to look. And it's just beautifully figured maple. And this is where the wheels started to come off because my laser engraver glitched out when it was engraving this, and it started to go off of axis and kind of wrecked it. I didn't really want to sand down into this already thin top, so I just decided to freehand draw the logo on and call it a day. Nah, I'm just kidding. I went back and made a plaque, but with this, when I started to mount it, it did bow the top in a bit when I clamped it, but that's not the end of the world. While I was waiting for the glue to dry on that, I did up a couple of these rolled muddlers here with marabou, getting ready to fish for the weekend, and here is the final product. I think it turned out pretty good. Oh, and I put a couple magnets in there too, and ready to catch hopefully lots of fish in lots of unique, interesting places.